Hello everyone, the 13th Scale here, also known as Scale, and welcome back to more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. I almost said Phoenix Wright date everything. Would that not be the crossover of the century? You can date your attorney's badge. Would be great. No notes. I'm wearing a different necklace that actually matches my ring. And I have... Okay, this plate was full when I brought it over here before I started eating before camera, but then I have a bunch of little tomatoes that I diced up, and I have coffee. In case you're wondering what this intro is, I have coffee. I got full sleep last night, and I have coffee. I'm sorry, everybody. Anyway. Right, that's what we're doing. The handprint... Where's my blanket? I had a blanket covering my lap over the last thing, and now I'm cold again because I got the AC running. For my cats. Not for me. Anyway. This bloodstained hand clearly shows a contradiction. The thing was there. So when would that have happened? The only thing that seems clear is that you're grasping, Mr. Wright. I was gonna add in something about Edgeworth saying that Phoenix is grasping at straws, but it looks like I don't need to. You've been staring pretty intently at those floor plans. Tell me, is there a problem with them? Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty strange, actually. Take a good look at these floor plans again. Something is missing. Yeah, where's the lockers on the other side? Are there not lockers on the other side? That seems like a complete waste. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Well, yeah. That's the definition of missing, yes. Yes. Something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of the blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. They also didn't include the lockers on the other side, either. Very well, Mr. Wright. Okay, with all this evidence here, there's got to be something I can use. I should probably save it before I royally screw this up. Okay. The question is, which item can prove something is missing on the floor plans? Honestly, it's gonna be the video. Yeah, here we go. That'll work. As they say back west, even a blind man can hit with buckshot. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. My great-grandfather had a different saying, and it was, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. Though I've heard another version of it also come from other family members' mouths, says, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So, with that mindset set, my great-grandfather, anytime that someone younger than him would tell him, you should look at this thing, even though there's absolute, like, maybe you lost your remote. And, you know, the 3-year-old would be like, you should look in the fridge. He would still go check the fridge, just in case. And the reason, by the way, I made that one as the reference is because my aunt did once accidentally lose her remote. I believe for 2 days, it was in the fridge, because that's where she set it down when she went to go make a sandwich for herself and left it in the fridge. Anyway, yeah. That is, so long as he's facing the general direction. That's true. It seems Mr. Wright is not sure which direction to face. It's what do you mean it's no use? The more evidence there is, the greater chance of me being wrong. Just calm down, Mr. Wright. Try and remember what the evidence room was like on the day of the crime. What? What is it that bothers me about this blood mark? Please, allow me another chance, Your Honor. I'll prove it this time. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. Okay, with all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question is, which item can prove that something is missing on the floor plans? I mean, the jagged, unstable jar is there, but... I don't know. I mean, we're missing some things, for sure. Is it the blue badger? I'm gonna go ahead and just put this here, I guess. Worth a shot.
Take that!
Well, what about that piece of plywood? Okay, there we go. But that's what I was trying to get at, but I thought maybe for sure that the thing about... That would have... Whatever. Just keep going. The Blue Badger, the mascot for the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. You know, I hate that rhymes. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Yeah, sure. Please take a look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not on here. So, watch what happens when we put him in. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Bada bing, bada boom. Well, what? Oh, thank you, Edgeworth. God, I love that he's smart. That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint on this spot on the locker. Oh, don't have a heart attack, Marshall. Please. So that means, just what exactly does that mean? It means that it can't be done. I don't... It can be done, however, it's just inconvenient to be done. Right? So there has to be a reason. What are you saying? The blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. But I bet you nobody saw them because that Blue Badger was in the way for a few days. Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. Mr. 8, think it through scientifically. How have we been swapping? Has she been there or on the stand the whole time? Where has she been? Why was... Was she on the stand or not? Is she like tag teaming off with Marshall on who gets to stand on the stand? Or has she been standing right next to me the whole time? Emma.
On that afternoon,
Okay.
Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right?
Yeah?
After he put it down, it would be impossible to leave a handprint on that locker.
So it would have had to have been done when the evidence was first stolen? Is that the note here? 'Cause that's the only thing I could think of.
So that must mean that this blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in,
But why didn't Meekins do anything about it? Just one moment. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. The fuck you mean? It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? You get me. One time was captured on the tape, taken by the security camera. That fight. Meekins cut his hand from which a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time was when the murder took place. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection!
What? That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
Objection!
I object your objection. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be a fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on the locker.
Objection!
I still think it was somebody cut their hand on the pottery. So then, assuming this murder you purport really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show me the evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? Not then. In an hour and a half of 4 p.m. So probably 4 o'clock. Check. 4:20 p.m. To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that room. That's right. The blood mark on the locker proves this. Very well, then tell us. When did the first incident occur, as Mr. Edgeworth said? Proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. That was why he sent Edgeworth there to get the screwdriver. There's only one piece of evidence that could show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence that shows when the first crime took place? Yep. I get you, buddy. Right here. If the crime took place inside the evidence room, then the killer would have had to have entered it. And in order to do so, an ID card would have been required. An ID card? Oh, the ID card record. Yes. Whoever is 777777 definitely did it. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger panel into the evidence room at 4:50. Let's see here, 4:50. If the crime took place before that time, then it would be 4:40 p.m. No, I bet you it was 4:20. Miles Edgeworth, just what have you done? Okay, whoa, let's not go jump into that conclusion. I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test that blood was there. However, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means that the blood from the first crime scene was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had just 10 minutes to murder the victim, carry his body away, and clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Mr. Edgeworth entered the room. So let's take a look at that chart again. 420 does make sense. There's only one other card number remaining. 7s all across the board. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room if he followed behind whoever was all 7s? Since there's no record of his card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. Yep, there it is. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with all 7s. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID number is 77777777. I think I used too many 7s there. It's fine. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. See, look, I'm just as bad as he is. Unfortunately, I am unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 77777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
It's Damon Gantz, I knew it. But that's ridiculous. Just how... I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. Not exactly.
Objection!
I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate it if you keep your slander to yourself. A slander, is it? Okay. Let me ask a question. Yes? No, not you. To her. The defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana.
Objection!
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. And it's not 77777. Oh. What is her number? Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I wanted to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Did she? It's going to be a no. Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Oh.
Lana!
I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. That's kind of a good thing, because it means that you're not trampling on the rights of people who don't deserve that crap. And now my coffee's cold and still bitter. Defendant, just what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me, an investigator in that crime, in the eye and say that you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't.
I don't have to, Officer Marshall.
What? No, why won't you answer him? What?
Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order to get the verdict he deserved.
But how did you know for an absolute, certain, guaranteed, ass in the ground fact that it was him that did it if you didn't have enough evidence to prove that it was him that did it?
But Lana! Even if it involved forging evidence.
Yeah, son of a bitch. Great. Just great. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. No. Whoa, that's an upset. Order, order, order! Ooh. Lana's remarks caused such a stir that the chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. In conclusion of the trial, would have to wait until the following day and could potentially render the other one a mistrial. To be continued. Damn. God damn it, Lana. Why on earth would you open yourself up for the possibilities of a mistrial like that? I get it, but if you don't have enough evidence to prove that it's actually him that did it, maybe it wasn't him that did it. I'm convinced it was Dark that did it, but I do think that it was Damon Gant that helped him, and that's why they were having issues obtaining the evidence that they needed to prove that it was in fact Damon Gant. But man, well, that's all the time I got for this episode. So remember, drink your water, eat a food if you haven't yet today, and take your pills. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.